Okay, welcome to a new iteration of our motorist reviews, where we're not going to stress so much about super crazy high production value because quite frankly that wastes time, and I would rather just give you a real life review of just the cars that I get on test. I hope you can't hear that. The pool is very loud at the moment, so just in case you're wondering what that whirring sound is, it is my pool, which I'm actually quite proud with the fact that it actually looks pretty good. Look at that, eh? Talk about proper adulting. Your pool stays blue, you know that you are doing adulting right. Cool, so this week I have got the new Mini Cooper on test, and I'm the worst person to review a Mini Cooper because I love them. I've had a bunch of Minis across like 10-15 years. I've owned an R53, I've owned an R56, I've owned an F56. So I've had every iteration besides this new one that I'm going to do a review on. And here's the car. Someone said to me that this car looks like Spider-Man over here. Does it not look like Spider-Man? Now I can't not see it. If I step behind there, look at that. It's got a bit of a Spider-Man vibe about it, doesn't it? Like I just see Spider-Man's eyes. But in terms of like overall look and feel, it looks very similar to all the other Minis. It's called the F66 now, as opposed to the F56, and it looks pretty nice in my carport. Sometimes I like to put these cars in the garage, but our car's in the garage at the moment. But yeah, I'm gonna fall here. It is not a bad looking thing. When we get to where we're gonna get to, I'll show you some better angles of the car. But yeah, it is not a bad looking car. So essentially what we're going to do is tomorrow this car goes back. I've driven it the whole week, but it was raining in Cape Town, and obviously having work to do, you don't really get an opportunity to drive the car the way you want to. So we are going to take a drive all the way out to Pringle Bay. We're going to find a coffee shop, and I'll get my wife's opinion on the car as well, so she's going to come along with me, and then we can just go through this vehicle and tell you my thoughts on the car. First thing that I need to mention though, because let me actually quickly just go back here, because I need to actually just talk about this. You'll notice that something is missing in this Cooper S. Every Cooper S from R53 days has had dual exhausts in the middle, and this car does not have that. So I can tell you, as a Mini lover, that bleaked me out. I wasn't too happy about that, to be honest with you, because to me, the defining thing of a Cooper S is those exhausts there. And on the inside, I'll tell you a bit more about that. There's also one thing that I feel that this car is missing, but we'll talk about that on the drive. But let's get going, and let's not waste more time. Let me go get my wife, and let's go for a drive. The big thing that it's a stupid thing. I already mentioned the lack of exhaust pipes at the back, but I don't have paddles. Where are my paddles? To me, my first Mini was a manual. My second Mini was a manual. The JCW that we owned, I wanted a manual, but we just missed out on that car like last minute. So it ended up being the sports automatic, which was fine. But this is the sport variant, and it doesn't have paddles, nor does it have the exhaust in the back, and it's not very loud, even though it's a Cooper S. So to me, it's a bit sacrilegious.
But I don't understand what the point of the pedals are. If you have a manual, then you've got the gear shift, right? Or
Yeah.
So then if you have an automatic, is the point not to have to do that? So what's the point of the pedals then?
Because car people like me are weird like that. Like if I've got paddles, especially in a hot hatch, I like the fact that I can go bam, 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 bam. It's like I'm playing PlayStation.
What's the difference between that and an automatic? I mean a manual.
Obviously with the manual I would have clutch and I'm changing and all that. Yeah. But with the paddles, as much as it's changing for me, I feel like I've got good control in terms of like when I want a certain gear, then I can select a gear. It's one of the issues that I had in your Countryman, that the Countryman also didn't have paddles, but that wasn't a Countryman.
But the driver of a Countryman is not going to use the pedals.
Yeah, that's true.
To what I would consider who a Countryman driver is someone like myself who, if I needed to do something while I'm driving besides gripping the steering wheel, then I might as well just drive a manual.
True.
That's my opinion as a non-car person.
And I must be honest, like I have to admit that
cars nowadays, especially performance cars, I mean, you see these things. I've had like the M5, I've had the C63, and like as a petrol head, I complain about a lot of stuff. But ultimately, consumers now, I mean, the brands have to speak to a mass audience. I do feel like there can be a happy compromise. Like, I feel like if they had put in the sensor exhaust and all that, like it wouldn't have, obviously it's less cost for them, but slowly but surely over time, the petrol head is kind of being forgotten more and more and more because we only are a tiny minority compared to the consumers who actually buy these cars.
Yeah, and I will say, obviously, this is the sports variant, right?
Yeah,
so I do understand why you were saying that, because I probably wouldn't purchase this model. I would just buy the like entry level or whatever it is, because I don't care about stuff like that. It doesn't have to be really exceptionally fast either. I will just drive my normal Mini. Like, I go to work, I go to store, I go to the store, I go, I just do normal driving. So then I don't need pedals, I don't need a performance exhaust, because I don't care about those things. So I do understand what you're saying in terms of the sport variant specifically, because you would think that this car is geared towards I said geared. This car is geared towards a petrol head.
Really, 100%. But I mean, I realize that ultimately, again, it's a small minority. I look at even like with manuals. Every petrol head will talk about a manual is the best thing, but then the brands will then bring out a manual and then no one buys it, but they've made these cars. So I understand from a business perspective why more like the petrol heady stuff is disappearing, and I'm hoping that they're going to come out with the John Cooper Works version of this thing, and that's going to be maybe more sporty. And I mean, look, it's not a slow car whatsoever. It's got 160 kilowatts, 300 Newton meters. And I know that for the average consumer, most people don't care about those figures, but it's decent figures. It's like GTI figures. And I would say that this is the most GTI-like Mini Cooper that I've driven so far. It still feels a bit chuckable, but it's quick. I mean, it's got an automatic gearbox, and I'll say this, even though I don't have the paddles, the gearing is set up in such a way that when I've got it in that go-kart mode, because there's no sport mode anymore, you have to, like, what's that? I love the sounds it makes. Let's see, if I put in go-kart mode, it goes. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but it goes like, and all of that.
Hate that.
But minis have always had that. I remember that like Bianca had a Mini Camden, and the Camden used to, Bianca, by the way, is my brother's wife. She had a Camden, and it's a variant, and it also made those sounds. It was like a specific variant of the Mini, of the R56 versions. It also went woohoo, and it made all those kind of things.
I will say I do love the screen.
Yes,
I think the screen. Also, it doesn't. It feels like it's my Kindle screen. There's no glare. Whereas on a lot of these like tablet-like screens in many of the other cars that you drive, there's quite a little bit of glare, and it feels like a real screen. But when you're driving, you can't see properly. But this, I don't know what it is. It's literally got that Kindle feel to it, where you can, the sun can glare down on it, and there's literally no reflection on it whatsoever.
Yeah, the screen is great. It's huge. That's why we put the camera. Normally we put the camera in the middle, that you can see both of us properly. But the screen is actually so big that I had to like reposition this camera. But you're right, the tech is amazing. The fit and finish is amazing. I mean, one of our friends said that they don't like this material. We actually spoke to a friend of ours who's got a previous generation Mini, and she was saying she doesn't like this material. But I like the fact that, if they had just left it like this material, would say the plastics are too harsh, but they covered it up with this kind of like canvasy feel, and it lights up at night. So from a tech perspective, you can definitely see all these brands are speaking to like a more tech focused consumer, someone who likes a bit more of like the, I won't say gimmicky stuff, but like this whole futuristic thing. And even these seats, everything about it, I must say, from an interior perspective, it's brilliant. It's very, very nice from an interior perspective. There's nothing I can complain about. It all feels like very, very well made. And me being a music person, this car's got Harman Kardon, which is, I've realized like if ever I'm gonna buy like another car, I'm never gonna compromise again when it comes to sound systems, because it's the same thing that I have an issue with the X5, is that the sound system is not good enough, because it's not the upgraded sound system, because I like to listen to my music at like 1000. And I like bass, and this is incredible. Like bass wise, Harman Kardon to me in some ways is even better than Bang & Olufsen, and that's like similar sound system to what I had in the Ford Puma that I drove recently. That also had a very good sound system. So it ticks all the boxes. From a young tech person, it ticks all the boxes. But like, what do you think of from like a ride perspective? I do think that in certain ways it's firm when when you're driving slowly, but it's quite nice. We're in the sportiest mode now. and it's still quite smooth.
Yeah, it's not bad. I've a mini like this shows you how much I know. I literally know small mini and then the Countryman. The small minis have always been a little bit rough, not rough, but you feel the ground a little bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Countryman, like I never had that issue at all. It literally just drove like a normal car.
Yeah.
But I think that is a part of the mini appeal, if I'm not mistaken. Like it is a bit more
hardcore.
Yeah.
And this
so
is
it's
still
fine.
soft.
It's fine. It's not bad at all. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not like it doesn't drive like a normal hatchback would, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
A non-sporty hatchback.
And this is still much nicer. I mean, with my black Mini, the R56 that I had, there was a John Cooper Works version of that car. That thing was rock hard. That thing was insane. But remember when I did the springs? I don't know if we weren't married then, and we weren't dating when I had the lowered springs on my black Mini.
I don't think so.
That was crazy. That thing was so hard that the car used to four-wheel drift in corners. Like normally you can provoke lift-off oversteer mid-corner if you want to get the car to slide. Shouldn't do that in normal driving. But that car was actually, it got a little bit undrivable. But I'm actually quite impressed that you could drive this thing long distance. Minis are almost seen as city cars, but I'm glad that we're going out for a bit of an hour drive and you'll get a nice feel of what the car feels like.
I also think maybe I hate to say this, but Cape Town generally, the quality of roads in the Western Cape is better. So I would say that driving this car in Cape Town is probably the best way that you can drive it in South Africa in general, I would probably say, because the roads are quite good. I think if you're dodging potholes and it's a little bit rickety in Joburg,
we don't want to sound like ex-Joburg as we hate.
But the road quality is better in Cape Town. It is just better. There's almost no, from where we drive, there's almost no potholes ever. So I do think maybe in a different area, maybe you would, but again, if you're buying this car, you don't care about that in any case.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It is interesting.
It's like that. Was it the Megane, the Renault Megane? It's the worst car I've ever driven.
That thing was hardcore. But this was actually, that was my wife's referring to the Megane RS280. It was a 280 trophy. The 300 trophy was much better, but the 280 trophy was actually too hard for day-to-day
I hated
use.
that car.
Yeah.
It was so. Again, if you're the person who's buying that car, you obviously don't. That's the comfort is not a feature that you look out for at all. But as just a normal consumer who will literally just drive, do the normal commute every day, I would never buy that car.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. There's traffic. So we're gonna go to Pringle Bay. We'll cut to some scenic footage now. Well, after the traffic, on our way to Pringle Bay when it gets pretty, because I don't think you guys want to really see like parts of Strandfontein at the moment. So we'll be using Baden Powell to do that, which is the beach road. So when we get to the prettier bits, we'll cut back to that, and then we'll already have been in this car probably for a decent amount of time. But so far, it works.
Yeah, very well.
It's very nice, actually. Let me not say it works.
I love a Mini. I am biased towards a Mini because I do love a Mini. It's such a cool car, and it has such a unique personality.
Yeah.
It really is like no other car. Really.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like there's two camps of people that feel very passionately about their cars. It's people who, in this space, it's Mini drivers and Fiat 500 / Abarth drivers.
Yeah.
It's all that kind of like
but a Fiat
artsy. I say that being the person I am.
A Fiat 500 is also a very unique car. I feel like if you are in the market for a small car and you have your heart set on a Mini or a Fiat 500, you most probably will not get another car because that is such a specific car.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're looking at the hatchbacks within its class, I don't know, it just feels like you'll probably look at other features. Whereas with a Mini and a Fiat 500, they are so unique to that model.
You'll actually probably compromise certain things because you just want to be in the brand, because you're now bought into the lifestyle of the brand.
Yeah.
This will be actually a perfect example. Before I cut out of this, when I get a gap here, I want to actually feel just something, because I'm going to have an opportunity to overtake, because as per usual, Cape Townians do not know how to navigate traffic properly. So I'm going to see, not bad. It's very smooth. It's very smooth. That's not bad at all. It's very smooth, very, very refined. So yeah, overtaking, it works, whether I've got paddles or not.
That was actually quite nice, I will say. That was very cool.
Yeah, it didn't feel like, it's just decent on. 300 Newton meters, small body like this, that's all you need.
And you get that usual wave of nausea when you do that, so that's good.
Because I got an M5 this time around, that's why.
So we are like 15 minutes outside of Pringle Bay, so we decided to do a typical tourist thing and stop by the viewing station. It's a viewing station. What do you call this? Like a viewing section. You know, all the tourists that like to stop and see like the views and all that. So we did that, and it also gives me an opportunity to see this Mini Cooper in a different light. And obviously, when it's parked by the house, you can't really see like just how beautiful it is. I do think it's very beautiful. It looks very much like a normal Mini. Nice seats though. Nice seats. I'll move the gear. These are the nice seats that I'm talking about. They look good. But yeah, let's get to Pringle Bay. I don't think this weather's gonna get any better than what it is right now, sadly. But that's okay. We can't always have beautiful sunny days in Cape Town. But yeah, let's get back on the road and we can talk a bit more about the car. But I actually want a coffee now at this point.
What's this place that we just left now? Drummond
Arms in.
Arms In. So
Big disappointment, by the way. Spoiler, it was a disappointment.
the problem with going to a small town on a Sunday afternoon is that most things are closed. And we had milkshakes there. Well, the kitchen was closed, so we couldn't even get food. But we had milkshakes there, and the milkshake was just full. What's that like?
They basically mixed yours with Nesquik. That was Nesquik and milk that they just put
and like
together.
15 teaspoons of Nesquik.
And 45 rand, I might add, for that. I can make a better milkshake at home.
Yeah, that milkshake was way too like over. I don't want to say seasoned. What's that?
Yeah, like flavored.
Yeah.
To be fair though, I think it's more of a beer on tap type of place.
Yeah. I mean, you're
so
up
maybe
to a
it's
pub.
on us.
You know, you go to a pub and you ask for a milkshake. They're like, no, because obviously I would have loved to have a beer, but we're driving an hour back home now, and yeah. But I'll say this. I mean, the whole point of this was to put a bit of mileage on this car. I didn't get it to spend not enough time with it, but just, you know, sometimes you don't really get an opportunity to really get the sense of the car. So the whole point of this exercise was like, let's take the car out and put some miles on it, etc, etc, etc. What most impresses me about this car is the fact that I'm averaging 8.6 liters. I know they claim like 6 point something, but 8.6 is very good. I mean, I've had this car for about a week. I've still got 3/4 of a tank. We've now come to Royal Else. We're gonna go to Pringle Bay, but we're basically in the same place. We've still got 442 kilometers, and it's much more. It's kind of sad in one way, because from like a thoroughbred petrolhead perspective, you know, when you think Cooper S, you always think fun, chuckable, this, that. But this is much more complete now. It is a lovely car to drive like longer distances, whereas the previous generations were a bit harder on the road. So I get it. Like, they had to make it more complete in a way to please, you know, bigger audiences. But I feel like in a way, because I don't think you can get a manual on this car. Gone are the old school days of like Mini Cooper S's just being predominantly driver's cars first. And I get it. I mean, like I've said, I get it a million times, but maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel better. Question: would you buy this Mini? And I know like what you're gonna say about the size, if you could get it in a 5-door variant.
But then I just get a Countryman.
There we go. It's tricky. And I think this car...
This is way too little space.
Yeah.
If you have this car, I think you either need to be mostly single.
Yeah.
You have another car in the family.
Yeah, it's a runaround. If you're going to get something of this size, it's a runaround. But the problem is, Now, I mean, this car's about, I think, 650, just under 700,000 rand.
Crazy.
It's a lot of money, and everything's expensive nowadays. So it becomes an expensive runaround, even if you're going to get the non-S, because I think the non-S is not that much more cheaper. I think it's probably like 5 something, 580, 590. I stand to be corrected, but I know that this is under 700,000 rand. But still, like, that is a lot of money. I mean, I think we spent like 440 on the John Cooper Works, and that was the John Cooper Works, and that was a 2018 car.
Which one was that?
That was the silver one with the red roof.
The last Mini we had.
Yeah,
Okay.
the last Mini we had. Yeah. So that's the thing. At this price range, it's a lot of money, and it's no longer run around car money. It's like main car money, you know.
I just want to video this, so you can keep talking.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those. It's a very nice car overall. I must be honest. But it speaks to a slightly different audience than the audience that originally spoke to. And for me, it still has many characteristics. It's still got that charm, and it's still got the look. And I didn't really get a chance to really like drive fast around corners, but you can still feel that it's still quite dynamic and it's nimble, but it's not like scruff of the neck manual, really like you know, the older ones were a bit more like you could really have fun with this thing.
Yeah, I get that. And like I said, this car for who it's supposed to be aimed at, I understand where not your complaints, but the negative elements of it do come in. I do understand that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not really a negative thing in a way, because like I also have to admit, like, realistically, even in this iteration of my life, I wouldn't be driving like how I used to drive my old Cooper S back in the day, because, you know, I don't want to leave you as a widower, and it's grown up. I guess the car's grown up with the audience. I would love to see what they do from a John Cooper Works perspective, but overall, it is a very nice car. I mean,
John Cooper Works available for this.
I'm sure they'll be in the future. Okay. So at the moment, they've just got Cooper C, which used to be the normal Cooper, and then now they've got Cooper S, which is the one that we're in now. The Cooper S, it's a warm hatch. I think it went from being a bit of a hot hatch to a bit more of a warm hatch now. And I hope that the John Cooper Works is going to still have those boy racer characteristics. And obviously, we might not even get a manual, but as long as I've got some pedals and a bit more noise, and yeah, but this is not the car that I want to rag. I want to actually just kind of do this kind of stuff with it, which is fine, because for 99% of the time, this is what you want to do. 99% of the time, this car is going to do everything you want it to do. But if you come from an older generation Mini, that last 1% is what you really want.
Yeah,
but,
I get it.
Nah, at the end of the day. Anyways, we're going to make ourselves home now. The weather didn't get better. But hey, we'll show you what we're seeing right now.